Hello, I'm Mrs. Charity. Welcome to the Glorious Heritage Overview of Catholic Church History. Discover the amazing story of the Church together as a family as you color and paste your way through the timeline and printables, which you can find on our website. And now, let's move into our topic for today.
Hello, I'm Mr. Charity, and welcome to the Glorious Heritage Catholic History video series. Today's topic is number 85, the Black Death. If you look on your timeline and summary question sheets, you'll notice that we are in the yellow time period, which we have named Kingdom. If you don't have a timeline or summary question sheets, you can find them on our website. In 1347, a ship traveling from Crimea in Eastern Europe sailed to the island of Sicily, which is an island just southwest of mainland Italy. This ship looked ordinary as far as the eyes could see. It was carrying items from the east to trade with Italians, probably spices or clothing, among other goods. However, this ship was no ordinary ship. There was something on this ship that was going to kill millions of people in the coming years in Western Europe. This deadly passenger on the ship was very small. In fact, it was smaller than a flea. It was the bubonic plague, the worst plague in the whole history of the world, and in 1347, it was about to be unleashed onto Western Europe. The bubonic plague is a bacteria that's transmitted by fleas. The fleas live on the rats that were passengers on almost every sailing ship during that time. In fact, rats were part of daily life for most people, as they loved to eat the food and waste that was thrown around in most towns and villages. In that time in the Middle Ages, they didn't have trash collectors that came once a week to take your garbage to the dump. So because there was rats all around, that meant that there were also fleas. Once this ship docked in Sicily, some of the rats from the ship ran ashore onto the mainland. From there, the rats and fleas that had the bubonic plague spread throughout the land, giving it to other rats. Soon, all the fleas and all the rats were infected, and it just spread like this the whole way across Europe. The fleas would bite people from time to time and infected them with this deadly plague. It was so deadly that it killed about 1 in every 3 or 4 people. Imagine that. Think of 4 people that you know. Imagine that one of them would die in the plague. Now think of another 4 people, and picture one of them dying in the plague. For every 3 or 4 people, one of them would die. The bubonic plague caused black bumps to appear in your body, headaches, high fevers, and pain in your stomach or your limbs. Of the people who died from the black plague, they would do so in about 10 days after they caught the disease. The Black Death had a profound impact on Western Europe. Imagine if a quarter of the world's population suddenly died in a matter of a couple years. People who grew food died, so there was much less food to eat. Priests died, so there were less places to go to Mass, hear confessions, and less priests to perform the last rites. Members of the government died, so there were less soldiers and other administrators. It was so severe that people at the time were sure it was the end of the world. Well, the plague eventually subsided, but not until about 75 to 200 million people died. Because there were so many dead during the plague, the remaining people were able to earn higher wages for their work. The kings and nobles across Europe still wanted people to work their fields, to fight in their armies. But with much less people in the land, the remaining people were more valuable. This increase in the wages of the common person was one of the things that contributed to the end of the feudal system in Western Europe. Okay, now Mrs. Charity is going to say the nursery rhyme for you, Ring Around the Rosy, Pocket Full of Posies. Do you know why? Listen and find out.
Hello, I'm Mrs. Charity. Have you ever heard this nursery rhyme before? Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all fall down. Do you know that this rhyme comes from the Black Death? You see, when someone got sick with the Black Death, They would often get little red or rosy colored bumps on their bodies with little red rings around the bump. That is why the rhyme says, "Ring around the rosy." The Black Death started to kill the body while the person was still alive. This made the people stink very badly. To make the smell better, they would put flowers in their pockets because flowers smell good. That is why the rhyme says, "Pocket full of posies." A posy is a flower. Then the rhyme says, "Ashes, ashes, we all fall down," because the sick people die and fall down. I bet you won't think of that nursery rhyme the same way ever again.
Welcome back. Now let me tell you a story about what it was like during the Black Death. In the year of our Lord, 1349, I, Thomas, a humble servant of God, am writing this account amidst the scourge that has befallen our town. The Black Death, they call it, a pestilence of such ferocity that it spares neither young or old, rich nor poor. Each day, the sun rises over empty streets once filled with the laughter of children and the chatter of merchants. Now there's silence, save for the tolling of the church bell, calling us to pray for the dead. I pray for the dead each day, but each day there are more to pray for. I attend daily Mass, begging God to stop this plague. But more importantly, I ask God to give me the grace to accept His will. I know that as long as a person is in the state of grace, the plague will only kill his body, but his soul will fly to God. The symptoms are merciless: a fever that burns, boils, and blackens the skin, and a heaviness that weighs on the heart. I have watched friends and family succumb to the disease. Their final breaths are prayers for their souls and God's mercy at their judgment. Yet in this time of death, I do see God's hand. Neighbors are sharing their last loaf of bread with each other, and priests are risking their lives, going door to door to administer the last rites of the church. In such a dire time, people learn to be selfless and giving. I do not know if I will survive to see the end of this plague, but I trust in our Lord's plan. Many of my family and friends are convinced that this is the end of the world. I guess we'll see what happens one day at a time. Well, that's all for today. Join us next time when we'll talk about the fall of the city of Constantinople in 1453. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new today. Visit our website, www.gloriousheritagecartoons.com, where you can find more educational supplements, cartoons, books, and printables. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram to get notified of our latest updates and videos. And if you like our work and want to support us, you can make a donation on our website or on Patreon. We really appreciate your generosity and kindness. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, and see you next time.